Good to be back with you, Veronica. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud to your health.
Salud.
Let's go.
Hey there, it's Veronica, and this is Content Jefe. Think of it as your friendly catch-up where we show you the ins and outs of being a content creator and an online business owner. We also share with you tips and strategies to help you make better content and make more money with your content. And we also bring you folks from the industry to share with you tips and strategies with you as well. And...
and I'm Studio Steve.
My co-host.
I'm really trying to become Steven instead of Studio Steve. So I'm Steven, the co-host. And yeah, we're all friends here. So grab your cup of coffee and your tea and let's get ready to get some learning on and be inspired.
Yeah, let's do this. Pod Sounds Cool presents Content Jefe, the podcast that helps online business owners make better content and more money. Let's Jefe up. So for today's episode, and this is a very, very good episode for those who work from home. We are going to take you to the behind the scenes of being a content creator and running a business from home and running a business with your partner. And I decided to put this episode together because I feel like on social media and you see different messages of people encouraging you to work from home. We do it all the time. And we share the luxuries and we share the coziness of working from home and the good stuff of working from home. But in this episode, we're going to share with you the behind the scenes and the raw and the real and all the things that we've been through and some of the dramas behind the scenes and all that.
Secrets.
We're going very
the chambers
honest
of working. From home.
It's going to be honest and it's going to be raw and it's going to help you a lot.
Yes.
Because we're going to give you tips on how to overcome these things that we have overcame or that we're working to overcome.
Or that we're in the process. And it's always good to get some insight from other people working from home or from couplepreneurs. So this is going to be... I always get a little
hit you with this once in a while.
Martita is our rubber chicken and she pops out and hit us. So this is a video podcast if you're just listening. If you want to see me occasionally get slapped by a tortilla or hit by a rubber chicken, then you can
I can tell
visit us on YouTube or Spotify.
Really, really good purchase. So the benefits of working from home. I cannot tell you like how many times when I was working in the corporate world, I would see people launching their businesses and just like doing really well and talking about it online. And I was always very curious about entrepreneurship. And when we decided to start our business, I was just amazing. And one of the benefits it was that I got to create something with my partner. I got to create something for our kids, a legacy for our kids.
Yes.
And, Steven is super talented and creative and it makes sense to me at the time when we started our business. Another benefit is that we got to manage our schedules and we got to manage our working hours instead of working, clocking in to the office at 9 a.m. and then be home by 5 or 6 and like missing a lot of things. So now we were managing our own schedules and managing our own working hours. So that's another perk of working from home. Then back then, I just had a baby and being home with my new baby.
Wait, you had a baby? Oh, sorry.
We have 3 kids.
Ooh, dee. I've been going behind the eyes for a long time.
Being able to work from home and to be there with my kids and to be with my baby and not missing out on her milestones or the things that she would do throughout the day. Because it would always kill me that I would come home and, they would tell me, oh, she did this, she did that.
I was the one having fun with the jolly jumper. Yeah. Let's just say that. The creative type at home with the kids and the jolly jumper.
Yeah. Stay-at-home dad.
Yes.
So that was another benefit. And I didn't have to battle traffic in the mornings. I didn't have to stress in the morning. to be on time. I didn't have a boss. So for the first time, I was my own boss, and I got to work on creative projects. All of a sudden, I was just thrown in front of a camera to record a YouTube video. I was thrown in front of a microphone and record a podcast.
For the first time.
For the first time. I was creating things on Canva. I was writing my own emails, for our email subscribers. I was just dreaming.
Building websites. Writing videos.
Sales pages. So super exciting stuff. And then 2020 happened.
Ooh.
And then we went into social distancing and we went into isolation.
And we were one of the lucky ones that were already working from home and had already started a remote-based business. So, and actually for our particular business in podcasting, the pandemic was very good for business. And so we were lucky that way.
But then after, 2020 happened to all of us, then we started experiencing I don't want to call it negative consequences of working from home, but some of the undesirable things that happen when you work from home. I think the best way to call it is
challenges.
The challenges.
Because they're legitimate challenges that most people are going to confront one way or another when they work from home remotely. And there are challenges that are specific to working with a significant other or a bestie or whoever you happen to be living with or a sibling. The closer you are with somebody and the more you have a relationship already developed, the more challenges you might find as well too.
Yeah.
But they're challenges, and challenges are something that make us stronger, that define who we are as people.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I found a little shocking to me, is that I got to experience Steven in the workplace. And that's just something different, because when you are a professional scenario, when you're a professional setting, then you show this
different side
of yourself is the side that is for the workplace.
Yeah, so you might
But all of a sudden, I was experiencing you at the workplace, but you knew me personally. So that combination of both, like, I feel comfortable and I'm just going to let it out, what I think, what bothers me, what agitates me, what makes me angry. So that was, for me, a moment that I thought, oh, wow, this is unknown territory, and we need to learn how to navigate this for the sake of our business and for the sake of the professional and personal relationship.
Yeah, and this is interesting, and we've talked about it a lot in our content before, about wearing different hats as a content creator or as a podcaster or as a business owner. And this is one of those different hats that you have to put on. And then it's like we're putting on different costumes to know each other in different ways. And the scary thing is, what happens if you get in that relationship and suddenly you're like, this is my husband, I love him, right? He's great. He's a great father. I love him as a father. But as a coworker, he sucks and I don't like him very much. So that may happen.
And then you can go home to complain to your significant other because your significant other is your coworker.
Yes. And so those things, a lot of growth and a lot of back and forth and a lot of arguments and a lot of, and so you have to find the middle ground, and you're forced basically to learn a new version of each other and to adapt. And what I've found, though, is this has actually been more of a blessing or more of a positive thing in the long run. In hindsight, it's always been really great, because some of the downsides, or I would even call them character defects, that I have, especially professionally in the workplace, and I feel like there's a lot of maybe creative types kind of like me that have some of these issues, which is like, wanting to control everything, or wanting to make sure that the lighting is just right and the cameras are just right and everything has to be set up just perfectly, and trying to run the show, and then also kind of hiding behind a lot of that with the content. So a lot of these sort of character defects, or I would say kind of obstacles in the way of me just achieving better content and, reaching more people with something that's more authentic and true to myself. I wouldn't have been able to see that had I just been running a business from home by myself. All of those assholeisms, or whatever you want to call them, would just still be operating at full speed ahead. And now what's really great too is, as we grow our company, we both have been that for each other, to where we've helped each other to shape the way that we would become professionals. We help each other to shape sort of the idea that we have of being a CEO, or, what a CEO even is, or what kind of products that we want to make, and what kind of goals we want to achieve. And then also what kind of managers we're going to be. Because regardless of how you feel about management, or whether or not you're going to be good at managing people, that is what happens as any business grows. You get pushed into that seat. And no matter how many people you hire, no matter what kind of team you build, you're always going to be, even at the very top as an executive of your own business that you build, you're going to be a manager. And we're really in the game of managing people. And so you have to think about it. Well, what kind of job would I want to show up to? What kind of boss would I like to have? And it's been a hard journey for me to look at myself in the mirror and be like, shit, like, what kind of coworker do I want to be? What kind of manager do I want to be? And that's been the most valuable, but also definitely the biggest challenge that we've faced.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are on the same boat, if you're doing this on your own, if you're doing it with a significant other, with a friend, my best advice to you is to delegate certain roles to among each other, or even with you if you're the only person, and just to realize that, as Steven said, that you're going to have different roles that you're going to have to perform for you to grow your business. You're going to get to the point when you will be able to hire people, but at the beginning, then it's going to be just the two of you, or it's just going to be you. And then delegating those roles, and really respect that person, and just let that people fulfill that role, and step into that role without you kind of overshadowing that person. I think that is my best
That's
advice.
really good advice there. I love
to
that
you.
a lot. Yeah. So again, we're putting on the different hats, like understand what everyone's responsible for. When we first got into it, we were just doing everything all together.
Yeah, because it was fun.
It was really
It was
fun.
fun, and it was cute, and we were like, creating content for the fun of it. I would say like the first year of us in business was just creating content for the fun of it.
Yeah, I was experimenting.
And then the second year, we're like, okay, now we have to
figure this out.
We have to figure this out.
How are we going to monetize this? How are we going to make money doing this? Who are we serving? What's sales all about? What's business all about? And what online courses are we going to take? What communities are we going to join? What coaches are we going to find? What conventions are we going to go to? So really good advice there. And actually, we spent a long time on that one point.
Yeah, so we're just going to cruise through the other ones.
Yeah, these are uninvited consequences, and Veronica will cruise through them.
The other one is the loneliness and the isolation. And we were coming already from, what happened in 2020 and the social distancing. And here we are in 2022, in the beginning of 2023, because the changes that I'm about to share with you, we're just barely starting to implement those. And the loneliness and the isolation, it creeps in, because at the beginning you're just so excited about you creating content about your brand new business. But then slowly it takes you away from that real human connection that you get when you're out and about, getting your coffee from Starbucks, and then going to work, and then dealing with other people, and all of the social activities that they have at the office or at your workplace. And then you're removed from that. And then you experience a lot of loneliness. You're creating alone. You are doing all these things alone, day in and day out, and that can weigh on your mental health. It did it for me. And I started to feel very lonely. And I don't have a lot of friends. My friends, the friends that I have made throughout my life, they've been at school, they've been co-workers, they've been people who I have met at church and places like that. But because I was so focused on the business, on growing the business, on figuring things out, then all of a sudden I just, turned to my right and turned to my left, and Steven is the only one.
Yeah, and it could get like that. And although we're building hundreds of relationships, thousands of relationships online, they're parasocial relationships. And so people get to become close with us, but we don't see the face on the other side. And that's the other definitely a challenge.
Yeah. And then the other thing, it can feel like Groundhog Day.
Same
Groundhog
routine
Day.
every day.
Same routine every day. You wake up, you do your workout or whatever, take your coffee, sit down on your computer and create and manage your business. And like,
Yes, and so-
if you already have team members that you meet with them, and then it just becomes this same thing over and over and over. So you don't know what day it is.
Yep.
It's just like the same, it's just one massive day.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it's also, that's exaggerated by the fact that you sleep where you work. I saw something shared on social media that was, when you work from home, you sleep at work or something like that, right? So the other uninvited consequences would be talking about business constantly when you're working with your significant other. It's like you go out on a date and now you find that the only thing you want to do on your date is talk about your business. That's okay to a degree because, we're obsessed with our business. We're obsessed. It's this baby that we're growing. So it's okay to talk about it. But that can take a toll on your mental health as well and your productivity.
It can affect your relationships too. It can,
and
in our case, we have to like separate and start working separately.
Yeah, we actually started working separately a long time ago. And here's a little hack that works for us. And it was very effective and still is very effective. And that's to have Zoom meetings with each other, even though we're in the same house. There's something about having both of us, we have our computer. And so we're able to multitask on our computer and sort of sit there with each other on a Zoom meeting. And our productivity went way up. We were able to sort of divide the responsibilities. It's very important to divide responsibilities because if you're doing the same thing together at once, it may have a little more love put into it, whatever that task is. But that is, you're two people with a lot of talents and abilities and force that could be moving your company forward. And that one of the benefits of having a partner in business is that you can both be creating at the same time, separate from each other and building things.
Yeah, definitely. I think we got into this vicious cycle where we would stop what we were doing and we were just like discuss things over and over. So it felt like insanity and we were not making any progress.
Yeah.
Like Stephen would have diarrhea of the mouth.
Yes.
And I would just sit there and take all that and just, because I'm ADD. So I would just, I would just go somewhere and then I would pretend that I was listening. And then my work wouldn't get done. So for us to be separated and work on different things, that was the best thing that we could have done.
Yeah, it works
so
wonders.
We could keep loving each other.
And so you can keep working.
Because we have experienced lows, very, very lows.
Yes, a lot of lows.
And also highs.
And a lot of highs. It's basically like a roller coaster. I joke with Veronica a lot. It's like, as you're going up. And a lot of working from home, a lot of everything, a lot of life is just that roller coaster of emotions, right, that we go through. And so it can be hard to kind of surf that. But let's take those.
So what do you do if you're feeling lonely, if you're going through anything that we have described so far?
Yeah, what do you do to get over
so I have a few tips
to conquer these challenges?
And I'm going to try to do it in the time we have left.
Okay, good.
Blocking time on your schedule is super important. I want you to look at your schedule and be like, okay, this is my work time. This is my spiritual time. This is my workout time. This is my education time. And look at the week, not at just one day. Just look at the week and see how you're going to, your sexy time. And when you look at your week and then you see the block the blocks that you have created, you know that on Fridays, Friday afternoon, then that day you're supposed to call a friend. That's your social time. You're supposed to meet a friend for coffee. You're supposed to do some kind of human connection, be outside the house or connect with somebody.
You can connect with somebody virtually too, but just to connect with somebody, have a conversation with another adult and have your thoughts be heard by somebody.
Yeah, but it's important that you see it, that it's scheduled and that no matter what, you're going to do it. Another thing that we're trying to implement is to have strict working hours. After a certain hour, we don't talk about the business, or at least we try to. Right now we're in the middle of a very exciting launch, so it's very hard for us to keep our excitement contain.
Yes.
But you should not be talking about work after 6 p.m., the latest.
If you can handle that.
So something super exciting that happened to me this last 2 weeks is that I found a co-working space. It's close to home. It's a gorgeous space that I get to go there and forget about kids and forget about anything. I can even turn off my phone, all of the distractions, and focus on the task that I have for that day. And I highly recommend that for you.
Yes, this is such a game changer if you're anything like Veronica, because she has a compartment in her brain for everything at the house. So like, if she knows where every box that hasn't been put away on a shelf that it's supposed to be put on is at. So
it's my superpower.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like if the kitchen sink is filled with dishes, she can't work. She can't really be as productive at work. Seeing what it's done for her brain and for her productivity to be a co-working space is really cool.
And not to mention that they have activities, you meet other people, you meet other entrepreneurs. They have happy hour. They have all sorts of fun things and activities every week. Another thing is to use your content to connect. And this is something that we're going to start doing in our podcast. We're going to start interviewing people from our industry, content creators, online business owners. And we're going to bring these interviews to you with super useful tips. And that way we'll be connecting with other people and we are in desperate need for that connection. I wouldn't say. I have my first interview on Tuesday, and I'm counting the days of like sit down and chit chat with another person, with another creator.
You're gonna be excited to find out who it is, too.
Yeah, and then make yourself a priority. You are the golden goose, so you have to make an effort to make yourself a priority.
You gotta poop out those golden eggs.
Yeah,
man.
Schedule yours. I said, look at your week and schedule time for you to get stronger, spiritually stronger, physically stronger, mentally stronger, and it will pay off. You are investing in the most valuable asset for your business and for, if you're a content creator.
It'll pay dividends. Think about the difference between overloaded, overly stressed action and focused action, right? How are you, the golden goose, going to provide the most focused action for these critical things? How are you even going to discern or understand if what you're spending your time doing is the best use of your time? By focusing, by meditating, by doing your spiritual stuff, by taking care of your body, getting more sleep. Come on. Yeah. And that can be a challenge if you have a demon as a 5-year-old who won't let you sleep. It can be a challenge. I'm just kidding.
Cute.
She's very cute.
And the 2 last points is to attend in-person events. Now 2020 is behind us. And now the in-person events that you can go to, that you can be present with other people.
We don't talk about COVID. No.
That didn't happen.
No.
Those are going to be of a lot of help because you're going to do some networking. You're going to have that social interaction that you need. You're going to be listening to other people going through the same experience as you're going through. So it helps a lot. And then stay close to your support group.
Yeah, stay close to your friends.
Don't ignore your friends because they don't understand you. They don't understand what you're doing, what you're building. You don't have to share that part with them, but stay close to them because they're going to help you. They're going to help your mental health, having that group of friends.
Yeah.
There.
We want to thank you for listening or watching. Make sure that you comment, tell us about yourselves. Let's enter into a different kind of relationship instead of parasocial. Let's get to know you. And we could be one of those friends in real life that you get to know a little bit. And we can talk back and forth. Also, share this podcast with another entrepreneur or somebody who is business or content creation curious.
And I really want to empower you with this episode to reach out. Sometimes we just make these stories in our mind that is too complicated. I don't have time for it. But your longing for connection can be solved with just a quick phone call, a quick email, a DM.
Yep.
So make an effort to do it. I want to compel you to do that. And also share this episode with somebody who you think may be going through a situation like this. Who you think that may be feeling lonely. And
until next time.
Until next time. Hasta la vista, Jefe.
Jefe up.
All love for you.